There are 3 Pokemon who I think get way too much hate, and by looking at the title of this video, I'm sure you can guess who I'm talking about. The elemental monkeys Simisage, Simipour and Simisear. Especially Simisear. For some reason it was ranked the most hated Pokemon back in 2016 and I just don't see it. Especially when there are more deserving Pokemon for most hated. And that's why I'm here to put some respect on their names and see if I can beat a hardcore Nuzlocke using only the elemental monkeys. All the rules to a hardcore Nuzlocke are in the description and I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get on to the challenge. Using my real copy of Pokémon White, I noticed some sort of glitch where Oshawott has been replaced with Panpour, so I decided to choose him as my starter and give him the nickname See No Evil. I avoid all story progression running past N in Accumula Town and head over to the Dream Yard to pick up your least favourite Pokemon, Hear No Evil, the Pansear, meaning 2/3 of our team have been collected before the first gym. Silence starts off with my favourite grass-type Pokemon Lillipup, and I use See No Evil. A water gun decimates the furry pup, taking it out in 2 hits as all it does is work up. Second is the Broccoli Primate, so predicting it will use Vine Whip, I switch to Hear No Evil, but I'm wrong and it uses a work up. The only move I can use here is Incinerate, but Pansage outspeeds us and gets to +2 while our hit only does about 1/3 of his health. I have to keep incinerating now, but I know that we're in for a big hit. Oh, is that it? And that's how I beat the first gym. The next gym leader has one of the hardest obstacles for us to pass. An intimidating Herdier and the powerhouse that is Lenora's Watchhog, who can put us to sleep with Hypnosis and do insane damage with Retaliate. Before we can face Lenora, we need to fight her gym trainers, and one of them takes Hear No Evil down to 3 HP with a tackle after lowering his defense. I of course have to switch out, and I do manage to get the KO, but not before almost losing See No Evil in the process. This means I can finally face Lenora, and the strategy, while not being noble, just might work. She starts off with her Angry Dog, lowering Hear No Evil's attack with Intimidate. Luckily he's only here for one reason, and that's to yawn. I get a yawn off and all Herdier does is go for a Leer, so I use Work Up to stall out a turn, but get taken down to 4 HP from a takedown. Herdier then falls asleep, so I can bring in See No Evil and start using Work Ups. I manage to get to +2 before Lenora's puppy wakes up and wastes a turn going for a Leer, so I'm free to get a KO with Water Gun thanks to a boost from a water gem I found in Wellspring Cave. This means Simon's out next and we could be in trouble if he goes for a Retaliate, so the only thing I can do is click Water Gun and pray for any other move. Our +2 Water Gun does over 50% and she whiffs the turn using a Leer, allowing one more Water Gun to take her out, earning our second gym badge. This was by no means the best strategy to win the fight, but without spending countless attempts finding the best way to take her team out, I just had to trust my gut and my team, and in the end, it all worked out. I head into Pinwheel Forest, and after running around for a while, I find a shaking grass spot, and in it is our final member of the team. Speak No Evil, the Pansage. And with our final team member added, I think it is the perfect time to ask you all to subscribe to the channel. Most of you watching might be thinking, I'm already subscribed, but you're not. In fact, 93% of people aren't subscribed to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before my birthday in August, so if you'd like to help me reach my goal, I would really appreciate it. It's only a small click for you, but to me, it would mean the world. Anyway, back to the video. With our final member under our belt, I run along Sky Arrow Bridge and make it to Castelia City. The first thing we do is head to the docks and speak to a scientist who gives us a choice between 3 items: the Fire, Water and Leaf Stone. This will allow one of our monkeys to evolve. I choose to take the Fire Stone because Hear No Evil will be our best matchup for the next few battles. I evolve him straight away, giving us our first fully evolved teammate and the world's least favourite Pokemon. But he has no time to dwell on people's hate. Hear No Evil is just here to prove everyone wrong. We storm into the 3rd gym with our heads held high and we are ready to sweep Berg and his bug types. He starts with Whirlipede and I use our newly evolved monkey. Immediately I go for a yawn, making the bug drowsy, and all he does is go for a weak Poison Tail. Then I use a Work Up and the centipede falls asleep. One more Work Up takes us to +2 and now we are ready to obliterate. One Flame Burst takes out his Whirlipede and he sends in his oh my god, what is that? That is get it out of my face. That is disgusting. With that abomination gone, he can send in his final Pokemon Leaveney, but being a grass and bug type, it doesn't stand a chance, as one more Flame Burst burns him to a crisp and we get the win from the third gym leader. Before our next challenge, I rush back to Wellspring Cave to pick up some gems and the remaining evolution stones for our team. I give See No Evil and Speak No Evil the Water and Leaf Stone respectively, so we now have our final team for the challenge. I run all the way to Route 4 fighting Bianca and Charon before making our way into Nimbasa City. Then I have what is normally a really hard fight with N, but due to us using super effective Scalds, we take him out no issue. Although it is bullshit that we do get a burn on Sigalith, but thanks to its Magic Guard ability, the burn does no damage, meaning he can use a Whirlwind, switching in Speak No Evil and risking a kill. So, just to be safe, I bring See No Evil back in to take him down, getting us the win. Elisa is known as a mid-game run killer, but Hear No Evil is able to handle her 3 Pokemon with no problem. We get off a workup before Emoldra uses a Volt Switch to bring in her second Flying Rat. With a +1 Flame Burst, Hear No Evil is able to outspeed and take out her first Pokemon as she sends in her original Emoldra again. A second Flame Burst and Outspeed combination gets a KO, meaning she's down to her ace, Zebstrika. Unfortunately, we don't get a one-shot, so Zebstrika can hit us with Spark, but our held Oranberry takes us up to around half HP. On the next turn, Elisa uses a Hyper Potion, allowing Hear No Evil to get a free hit, taking her to a Sliver. She heals one more time, but we know what needs to be done as we send 2 more Flame Bursts into the Electric Zebra, getting the victory and earning the 4th gym badge. After Elisa, I make a pit stop to Route 16 where I can push a boulder out of the way and pick up a Charcoal. I immediately give it to See No Evil. No, I don't. I immediately give this to Hear No Evil since it gives a 20% boost to all fire attacks. I then have a double battle with Charon against some preschoolers before meeting up with Elisa so she can drop the drawbridge, allowing us to head over to Driftvale City. I waste no time taking on Clay, and for the first time in this run, it's all up to Speak No Evil. A Seed Bomb gets a clean KO on Krokorok, and then he sends in his Excadrill. I use another Seed Bomb, but it only does around 50% since Steel resists Grass for some reason, meaning Excadrill can lower our speed with a Bulldoze. Clay then goes for a Slash, taking Speak No Evil down to 49 HP, but a second Seed Bomb does the trick, taking his ace down. Finally is Palpitoad, but since a combination of water and ground make a Pokemon vulnerable to a Blade of Grass, one final Seed Bomb takes him out for our 5th and possibly easiest gym badge. We go from one easy fight to another as N stops us in Chargestone Cave. A Scold from See No Evil takes Boldore down to Sturdy and we actually get a burn. He wastes his turn going for an Iron Defense, meaning the burn damage can take him out as N sends in Joltik. I switch to Hear No Evil and an Electro Web lowers my speed, but despite that we still outspeed for a one-shot with Flame Burst. Then is the Steel type Clink, and I'm sure you can see where this is going. And finally is Ferroseed, but being 4 times weak to fire means it's turned to Ash just as fast as it can come out. Me and the 3 Musketeers head to Skylar's gym and I offer our help tidying the place up because it's time for another sweep. She starts with Swoobat and I use a Yawn from Hear No Evil as Skylar just goes for an Amnesia. Then all I need is a few workups before Shadowclaw takes out the Swoobat. A Shadowclaw then takes out her Swanna, and finally a Flame Burst takes out Unpheasant, who I think we can all agree is the worst regional bird. But with a team of flying types defeated, we earn our 6th gym badge and make our way to Twist Mountain. Before we can actually head into the mountain, we're forced into another fight against Charon. The only reason I'm showing this clip isn't just because we one-shot all of Charon's Pokemon, but we do. It's also because Alder gives us Surf, the strongest move for See No Evil. He won't be able to show off his power just yet because we have to take on Icarus City's gym. And since we have the unstoppable force that is the Fire Monkey, it is just pitiful. I don't even bother putting Vanillish to sleep. We use one workup and a Flame Burst to melt the snow cone as Bryson sends in his Snotty Bear, who also gets one shot. Finally is Cryogonal, and Hear No Evil surprisingly outspeeds, but our power is too much for him and we get a 3rd knockout, earning us our 7th gym badge. The mid-game is over, and now our next real challenge is the 8th gym. I mean, I do have some fights with Team Plasma and our rivals, but now you should know that this pack of primates can handle them with little to no problem. This means we have our final challenge before taking on the league, and that's the last gym battle against Iris and her dragon types. You might be thinking, well, dragon resists all your stab moves, so how are you going to win? Well, my dear viewer, I have come up with a surefire strategy that would put world champions to shame. Blizzard spam. The intricacies of this plan are so risky, we need to execute it with pinpoint precision. Iris sends in her Fracture and we click Blizzard. Then comes in her Drudagon and we click Blizzard. And finally is her ace Haxorus, the scariest Pokemon we've faced yet. If I input this wrong, it could be game over. I hold my breath and click Blizzard, which takes Haxorus down, earning us our final badge and ensuring my place with the Nuzlocke GOATs for coming up with the most insane strategy and executing it flawlessly. All we're left with now is to take on the Pokemon League, and I have to be honest, I did not think that the most hated trio in the entire series could make it this far, let alone deathless. But I can't stall any longer, I just have to hope my 3 monkeys have what it takes to become champions. The first member I take on is Chantal and her ghost type, since all of my monkeys have access to Shadow Claw. She sends in Cofagrigus and I choose Hear No Evil. I start with a Yawn and put the Coffin to sleep, as a Shadow Ball does about 50% of our health. I then swap to Speak No Evil and a second Shadow Ball only does about 1/3 of his health. Cofagrigus then falls asleep, allowing us to land a Leech Seed for chip damage and a bit of healing. Speak No Evil can now get off a few workups while gaining health each turn before landing a Seed Bomb, just missing out on a KO. But thanks to Leech Seed Chip, she gets taken down as we're healed and leveled up to 51. Second is Chandelure, but thanks to our Broccoli Monkey's natural speed and +2 attack, we can go for a Shadow Claw, getting a one-shot before it can connect with a Fire Blast. Both of her remaining Pokemon are weak to our Stab Seed Bomb, so one hit on Jellicent takes it out, missing the 30% chance for Cursed Body to proc, and the same goes for Golurk. With the first and arguably hardest Elite Four member taken down, I have free choice of who I want to fight, and I just decide to go clockwise, meaning Grimsley will be our next challenge. Like before, I use a Yawn with Hear No Evil to put Scrafty to sleep on the next turn. Then I use a second Yawn to guarantee Scrafty will be asleep as I bring in See No Evil. Then I use workups until Scrafty wakes up, hitting us with a Sand Attack. But I mean, that's no issue, right? One accuracy drop surely can't do that much to us. Well, See No Evil ends up missing a Surf, allowing Scrafty to use a second Sand Attack, putting our accuracy at -2. Luckily, on the next turn, we managed to hit a Surf, taking Grimsley's first Pokemon out, but this just means we need to get really lucky with our future hits. Second is his Crocodile, and thankfully Surf lands, getting a KO before he can hit us with an Earthquake that would have definitely taken See No Evil out. Then he sends in his ace Bisharp, and like Crocodile, Surf lands and gets a one-shot. Then is Liepard, who does manage to hit us with a Fake Out, but one more Surf gives us the victory. And I'm really surprised we hit all of those Surfs, but I think the only one we needed to worry about was Crocodile. Our next fight is against Caitlyn, and I'm sure you can guess how we're opening it up. Yeah, that's right, a Yawn with Hear No Evil. A Psychic from Reuniclus does massive damage, so we have to switch out to Speak No Evil on the next turn, but we do get hit with another Psychic which lowers our special defense. But on the bright side, Reuniclus does fall asleep so we can set up. I risk going for 3 workups and her weird jelly baby thing actually stays asleep, meaning one Shadow Claw is more than enough to take her down. Sigilyph is out second, but since we're at +3, one more Shadow Claw gets a KO. The same goes for Musharna, who is unfortunately as slow as a bag of bricks, so there was no issue taking it down. And finally is her ace Gothitelle, who can't lay a finger on Speak No Evil, as we get a one-shot, beating our 3rd Elite Four member. Finally is Marshall, who I find to be the hardest fight in this gauntlet, but luckily for us, we have a really sleepy Fire Monkey who can put Marshall's throw to sleep. A Stone Edge does massive damage to Hear No Evil, but it wasn't enough to take him down, meaning on the next turn we can swap to Speak No Evil. A critical hit Stone Edge takes us down to 74 HP, but we can use 2 workups and a Flying Gem boosted Acrobatics to take the KO on his first Pokemon, as he now sends in Mienshao. I've actually been underestimating how fast Simisage is, because we outspeed Mienshao for another one-shot with Acrobatics. But then Marshall brings in his sword, meaning I just have to hope he doesn't take us out before we can get 2 hits off. I go for an acrobatics, taking him down to 1 HP, and a Stone Edge barely leaves us alive with 10 hit points, meaning after a few full restore spams we can take Sork down as his last Pokemon, Conkeldurr, is out, who we managed to cleanly one-shot with no trouble at all, meaning not only have we beaten the Elite Four, but we're on our way to beat the whole game with just our team of elemental monkeys. These next 2 fights will be the hardest challenge in the whole run. Not only do I have to fight N and Ghetsis, but they're back to back, meaning if I lose a Pokemon against N, I can't use it in the fight with Ghetsis. One thing that is really unfortunate is I have to catch Zekrom for story progression, and because I only have 3 Pokemon, Zekrom is forced to the front of my party while fighting N. Normally I'd just have to like switch out or something, but there's a mechanic that I didn't know about until this challenge, that if you throw a Pokeball at a trainer's Pokemon, they hit it away and it counts as your turn. Meaning if I keep throwing Pokeballs, Zekrom will eventually get taken out so that the battle can start properly. So to start off this fight right, I of course send in Hear No Evil and go for a Yawn. Reshiram grows drowsy, so I swap in See No Evil as N sets up a Reflect and then falls asleep. I go for 2 workups and a Water Gem boosted Surf takes his dragon out in a single hit. Imagine that, a 10-foot dragon getting taken out by a 3-foot monkey with the equivalent of a glass of water. Anyway, second is N's Klinklang, but being as slow as it is, we can outspeed it and take a second KO. Third is Zoroark, but like before, our monstrous speed and special attack take him down no problem. Then N brings in his Caracosta, and like Marshall Sork, it also has Sturdy, so we need to hope that the attack it picks doesn't do too much damage. Our Surf brings him down to 1 HP, and Stone Edge misses, meaning after a full restore we can hit him with 2 more Surfs to take him down. Fifth is his Archeops, and this one actually surprised me because I always thought Archeops was this fast monster that can outspeed pretty much anything. But all I needed to do was click Surf and watch it get washed away in 1 hit. This means his last Pokemon is Vanillux, and 1 more click from Surf does the trick, meaning we beat N deathless and we're moving on to the final fight. Ghetsis starts with Cofagrigus and my Zekrom has been revived, so I throw balls until he is taken out and I send in the sleepy champion, Hear No Evil. I go for a Yawn, but Cofagrigus uses a Protect for some reason, so it doesn't go through. But on the next turn, we land a Yawn as he goes for Toxic. But before the first fight, I equipped Hear No Evil with a Pecha Berry that we got in Pinwheel Forest so that we shake off the poison, but on the next turn, I make a stupid mistake. I taught him Protect so we could stay safe until the coffin falls asleep, but I accidentally go for Flame Burst, meaning Hear No Evil gets poisoned. But this isn't your normal 5 damage a turn poison. This will double poison damage each turn. I have to go full throttle now, as a second Flame Burst takes him into yellow health, but since Cofagrigus is asleep, this means Ghetsis will use a full restore on the next turn. I take advantage of this and go for a Yawn, meaning on the next turn he will fall asleep again. I think there's no delaying the inevitable, and Hear No Evil is going to be taken down in the next few turns, so the least I could do is ensure Ghetsis gets taken out. I press Flame Burst to do a chunk of damage on Cofagrigus, but a mix of Shadow Ball and Toxic damage takes out our fiery boy. I know you're happy that your least favourite Pokemon is KO'd like this, but I just want to point out the work he has put in. All the way back to the second gym, he was sleeping Lenora's Herdia, taking Berg and Elisa out single-handedly. I really don't think he should hold the title of most hated Pokemon. Rest easy, Hear No Evil, because you have more than deserved it. With a heavy heart, I return Hear No Evil to his Pokeball and I send out our starter, See No Evil. There's only one way to win this fight, and it's the strategy that has brought us this far. I go for 2 workups and press Surf, taking the coffin that stole 1/3 of my team from me, and Ghetsis brings in Bufalon. A Surf doesn't even get a knockout, and I don't know if that's because Bufalon is just tanky, or if See No Evil is too upset from the loss of his brother. But he hits us with a Wild Charge, taking us down to 5 HP. This must have snapped him back into reality, because the recoil takes Bufalon down and Electros is brought in, and we just wail on him. A Surf, 1-shot. Hydreigon comes in. Blizzard, 1-shot. Seismitoad is next. and even though it's a neutral hit, Surf gets a one-shot. Finally is Bisharp, the perfect Pokemon for Hear No Evil to fight. But then we remember, he was just taken from us. Ironically, the only thing our Simipour can see is the evil that stands in front of him. As one more Surf takes out Bisharp, we've done it. We've saved the world, but at what cost? The Pokemon people criticised is gone. Will they even remember his name, or will they just remember the fact that they didn't like him? All I can say is Simisear doesn't deserve to be the most hated Pokemon, because Simisear is a hero to me.